Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome everyone in the 6th class of Ramayan. And today we'll start from what Sage Sutta. It's saying to other sages that have accumulated in front of him to gain knowledge, divine knowledge, and move and cut through the worldly illusions that bind them, that relegate them from gaining good path, divine knowledge. And what Sage Sutta it's saying, that is expressed by those sages. And they express their words in this verse, and they say, Adharma niratanam cha yatanascha prakirtitaha ghore kali yuge prapte ved marga bahishkrite. They are saying that, O Sage Sutta, our Lord, our Father, our Guru, you express that what would happen when Kali Yuga enters. When Kali Yuga enters a person's mind, what happens then? What happens? Adharma niratanam cha yatanascha prakirtitaha. In Kali Yuga, we'd see majority of people would relegate from Vedic path, from Dharma. And they would start persecuting, tormenting the people, the little number of people, the infinitesimal amount of people who are aligned with the path of Vedas. You express those things, and we'd see the fame of people who are committing crimes. In Kali Yuga, the fame of people who commit bad works, who commit evil works, the fame of those people would rise, would soar high up in the skies, and the people who would be aligned with the Vedas, they would be suffering in their lives, they would be persecuted, they would be tormented and agonized by those people who are not following Vedic rules and regulations. This is the irony of Kali Yuga, which we would see when the era enters. And this is defined by you, O Sage Sutta. And in the next line they say, Ghore Kali Yuge prapte ved marg bahishkrite. Bahishkrite means they would never, the people who would completely keep themselves aside from Veda, untouched from Vedas, from good scriptures, from philosophical scriptures, from the scriptures, the books that turn a human's life into good life. Yesterday I was telling about transformation. And actually it's not transformation. I was talking that in Indian philosophy, we believe, not only believe, we have the complete proof of this fact that rebirth occurs. Because we see different people in this world with different abilities. If every person was born without any past influence in his life, every person would have gained equal possessions, equal abilities, equal expressions in their life, but we don't see any of them. We see so much diversity in human nature. Just take this human race. We see so much diversity, you can never relate a person to another person. Why? Because every person has its own amassment, has its own accumulation of works that he committed in his previous births. And so, we today, wherever we're standing today, is the accumulated form of whatever we did in our past lives, in our past births. So we were transformed by our good deeds, by our evil deeds. And so now whatever we are today is a transformed form, transformed figure, transformed structure of what we were as a pure soul. The pure soul is always pure. And we are transformed form, which is directly proportional to our works that we committed, that we did in our previous births. And so now, good scriptures, what do these scriptures, what do good teachings, what do gurus do in our lives. They start bringing us to the real path that we were. They start bringing us to the real selves that we were, to the real thing that we were produced the first time we appeared in this existence. So these scriptures, these knowledges, this philosophy, so all of these things will be kept aside in Kali Yuga, and people will turn, majority of the people will turn, significant amount of people will turn towards crimes, towards illegal works, towards undivine works. So the sages are saying that, O said Sutta, you discussed to us that how humanity would fall down in Kali Yuga. How the humane behaviors will get directly affected, not only affected, but they would see their downfall in Kali Yuga. And even the worst thing is that majority of people will start derailing themselves from Vedas, and they would start, not only they would derail and put their own life on the edge of declination, they would not only endanger their own lives, but they would also start persecuting and tormenting, and they would start agonizing good people. And then khandatvam prasiddham vai sarvaischa parikirtitam. And they say then that the person who is more hypocritic would gain the most amount of fame. Today we see the person who shows himself off so much, majority of the people in this world is completely starts inclining itself towards him. And the person who follows Dharma, who works on his own way, not deferred from Dharma, not attracted by illusions, the people start making laugh of him. They don't think him a good person, an able person. And so the sages are telling that, O sage Sutta, you said us that in Kali Yuga hypocrisy would take its turn, and the majority of the people would turn their way towards hypocritic beliefs, and they would gain fame this way. And then they say, Karmartha hrasva dehascha lubdha anyonya tatparaha. And they say that people would be much more, they would move themselves much more towards the direction of desires, whether it be bodily desires, whether it be materialistic desire, whether it be the desire of persecuting someone, this would be the desire. Look, desires are of two types. One is good desire that uplifts you, and one is bad desire that downsizes you, as well as it also hampers the natural flow of this ecosystem, and that starts from your evil works, from your desired works that is not good. So the sages are saying that in Kali Yuga, people will get affected by desires, and those desires would create cataclysm, would bring cataclysm on earth, like flood. When a person becomes completely different in his mind, when a person becomes a sort of mad in his mind, freaks out, then he could create such a destruction that nobody can ever fathom about. So they are saying that in Kali Yuga, the person would start moving towards bad desires, and hence he would create his life a mess and bring a hellish environment, create a hellish environment on earth. And then they say, Hrasva dehascha, the people would not be so much taller. They would gain short bodies, They say it like this, and we see that in previous times the creatures had larger bodies. So Ramayana is evidence that at that time, during that period, people's height, their stature was much more bigger than as we see today. So they are saying that in Kali Yuga, people would get shorter. And why is it? We don't know about it. Some scientists say that when the earth was made, when the earth was created, during that time, the oxygen level was so much high that people always remain oxygenated. And so the people always remain oxygenated, and so their stature, their height was so much good. These are the beliefs and theories of some scientists. And what is actually to do with this work? This is scientific thing, and why is it so? We don't know actually about it. We see what happens in the further developments that scientists say. And then he says, they say, lubdha. They would be so much greedy. The people will be completely encased with greed. They would not live a life of contentment. They would be greedy towards others. They would always think about more and more. Look, santoshat anuttama sukhalabha. This is the root of yoga darshana. If you want to achieve the immortal happiness, the happiness never gets hampered, is never disrupted by anything, so start becoming completely greedless. Start having the things that you have in your life. You start becoming a person who is always content with whatever he has acquired in his life and whatever God has given him. Sometimes we become envious about another person's ability. Sometimes we get envious, greedy about how much a person has created prosperity, opulence in his life. This is not at all good. Look, every person has gained certain abilities, certain powers and energy in himself, and every person is different in his own way. Every person has acquired something that the next person has not in himself. Every person is exclusive in himself. That's why it is said that there is no nakutascha no naha. There is no negligence. There is no boundaries. God has never ignored any person of his abilities. He has given abilities to every person, such abilities that could uplift him in his own area. Every person has got certain abilities. A scientist has gotten the ability to dwell in science. A player has gotten abilities to move himself in certain play. And every person, a doctor, has gotten abilities to operate, to help people, to nourish people. Mother has gotten ability, empathy, sympathy. Father has gotten ability to lead a family. Every person, every entity on this universe, in this planet, has gotten certain abilities. So no one is inferior to someone, or no one is superior to someone. We're all equal. And this is where the power, the knowledge of equity comes in humanity. And not only humanity, in entire creation, no one is inferior. Even the animals are not inferior to us, so we should not kill them. All right? Everyone has gained the right to live on this earth. If we cannot create a single atom on this earth, how could we have the right to kill someone? To kill some animal who cannot express his fear, who has not gotten the ability to speak his fear, who has gotten no ability to show his agony in court. And we are killing those animals just to live our lives lavishly? just to live our lives so we could eat something? God has given us so much things to eat. This earth is full of fruits and vegetables and good things for human beings. Even the structure of human beings never equalizes to eating flesh and becoming omnivores. We are herbivores by our creation. The shape of our canine is not that much as it is in carnivorous animals. We are herbivores in existence on this earth. So we should think about it. And what I was talking about, yes, lubdha. Every person would become greedy. Every person, most of the people, majority of the people, significant amount of the people would become envious, would raise enviousness in himself. And the next word, what they say, anyona-tatparaha. They would always remain selfish. They would always remain completely self-centered. And what next he says, that anyona-tatparaha, that they would always put their works onto others for it to be done. We see today that we put off our works, we defer our works many times and feel that may this person does this work. I hope this person does this work so I could be in a resting position. So they would become careless. The entire expression of this word is they would become careless. They would no longer believe in hard work, labor. Fruit always comes when there is labor in life. When there is hard-working self in yourself, in you, only then good fruit comes. And when you are not working hard, there will be no good fruit. And when there will be no good fruit, you live unemployed life. And then you live a layoff life. And then what would happen? You'd have no money, you'd have no prosperity, no wealth. And then you would start becoming greedy, envious about others who have uplifted their lives intellectually and emotionally, spiritually, socially. Then you would say, oh my gosh, I didn't do this work the time I needed to do it. And then your entire existence, your entire body, your entire thoughts, and your entire emotion would start tilting towards enviousness about the person who has gained accomplishment in his life. This is the root. Not working hard in your life is the root of all sorts of unhappiness in your life. So, one thing, every person is shaken by this fact that I didn't do this work when I was required to do it. And I did this work when I shouldn't have done it. This is the greatest remorse of life. Greatest remorse. As a student, the main purpose of a student is to study. But that time, he is spending his life in theaters, clubs, and pubs. And when he grows up, he is married, he has children, and he is unemployed, then he would think, why didn't I study when there was time for me to study? Why did I spend my entire life, entire academic life, just goofing around? Why did I do so? So the greatest remorse, the greatest regret of life is why did I do this work when I was not supposed to do it? And why did I not do this work which I was completely supposed to do it? So think about it. Think on this matter and always put yourself in your work. Your work is the greatest thing. Your work is your friend. Your work is your accomplice. Your work is your everything. So never derail, never get away from the work that you are doing, from the work that you have to do, that you are authorized to do, that you have the right to do. As a student, you pour yourself entirely in your studies. When you grow up, when you are an adult, when you have completed your adolescent years, Then suppose you are in a company, you are a businessman, you are employees of some company, you are doing any job, then pour yourself entirely in that job. And then good fruits, a fruitful life will emerge from within you, and you'll become an example for entire human race. Every person will exemplify you. Every person will follow you. That this person, the way this person has uplifted himself, the way this person has gained some prosperity in life. The prosperity not only means materialistic prosperity, the prosperity means spiritual prosperity, intellectual prosperity, and money type prosperity as well. So be prosperous from all the sources of life, from all areas of life, be prosperous. And that could only happen when you indulge yourself completely in the work that you should do at a particular time. And then the poet sage Valmiki is expressing his words by the mouth of sages. And they say, Kalau sarve bhavishyanti swalpayur bahuputrakaha. In Kali Yuga, what would happen? That the lives of people will fall short. They would no longer gain longevity. And this is only because the people will start tilting themselves toward materialism. The more we tilt ourselves, the more we engage ourselves, our life in materialism, the more we fall down, the shorter life we have, the more we indulge our lives in the ocean of materialism, of illusion of this materialistic world. You cannot feel it when you're young, but as the age grows beyond 40, you start declining. So return to nature, return to naturalistic things, return to your character is the greatest thing that I would tell in the next class. What is it? In one sentence, I would say that if you want to become a human being, become a characterful person. Is the single and the utmost important thing in the entire life that can never, should never, that must not be ever, that should never be neglected. It's not a spiritual thing. I am a monk, you'd say. He is speaking anything that is only expressions of people who are living a spiritual life. No, sir. I am telling you that if you want to be a complete human being, be a characterful person. Is the lone thing, is the lone accomplishment, is the lone quality of a human being that makes you an entire human being. We discuss about it in a broader way in the next class. In this class, we had discussed on what Sage Sutta expressed to his sages, to the sages that had come in front of me, in front of him to gain knowledge about Kali Yuga, and we had learned more about the nature of Kali Yuga. And so my only advice, my only opinion, and my only suggestion to you is never allow Kali Yuga to enter your mind, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your life. This way, it could lead a better life and help everyone live a better life as well. Thank you. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.